my third time doing the coffee house, doing comedy. Hopefully I'm getting progressively better. I obviously judge my ear laughter. A couple weeks ago was family weekend here. I don't know if anybody had your family come visit you, if your family loves you. I have the unfortunate circumstance of my family actually loving me too much and coming up here. And of course this time was extra special because they chose to bring my grandma. I love my grandma to death, but she's your typical 88-year-old stubborn Polish grandma who takes no for an answer. What makes this family weekend especially exciting was we got to incorporate her first experience with an electric scooter. Boy, was it enjoyable. Before I start the scooter story, I should tell you a story about my grandma and cars. She's never owned a license her whole entire life. 88 years, never a driving license once. My grandpa tried teaching her driving one time. The only reason why it was one time was because it was right after he built a 1.5 car garage in the backyard. He has a brand new 71 Mercury Cougar and says, you know what, I'm gonna take Christine, my grandmother's name, I guess they were formal back then, to go out for a drive. He thinks it's in reverse, it's in drive, she guns it right through the back window of the garage. Needless to say, she was never taught to drive again. Now, this grandma, many years later, on a scooter. Her largest technological advancement is a phone. So her looking at this, she was scared and she was going, I can't use this, I can't use this. And so my dad, and she says, I don't know how to use it. And my dad and I are pretty much telling her, green means go, red means stop. Very simple rules, yet she still couldn't get it. So she's going, she didn't crash into a lot of stuff. She crashed into an elevator quite a few times, and then she starts freaking out, I broke it. And we say, Grandma, it's off, it's not moving. You're in an elevator, we're fine. And the best part, or the most enjoyable part of it, was my dad leading my grandma, because they say the phrase, the blind leading the blind. But with my dad leading my grandma, it was like the deaf leading the deaf. They're both incredibly horrible at hearing, so my dad will be yelling at my grandma, his mom, go right. She'll say, what? Go right. And before you know it, she crashes into something else. It was a huge fiasco. And I tried telling my dad around campus, but he's incredibly stubborn. He's like the Clark Griswold of the family. Even if he doesn't know where he's going, he knows where he's going. He makes you think he does, but I'm clearly saying, Dad, no. You're going the exact wrong way, but yet he'll say, no, I know where I'm going, we'll get there. So 15 minutes later, we get to the exact location, but to him, that's on time. From there, we go around campus, and we go out to dinner. We go to Applebee's, have a fun time, and at this point, my mom's annoying me because she's asking me the 21 questions of what's going on in college. With my mom, it's not so much 21 questions, it's one question phrased 20 different ways afterwards. She'll ask the question of like, oh, so do you sleep on a bed in college? I'll be like, yeah, Mom, I sleep on a bed. So when you sleep, you're on a bed, right? Yeah, that's how it works, Mom. And then it keeps on going and going. I get more aggravated. And she can tell I'm getting more aggravated, so of course, like a loving mother, keeps on prodding, she doesn't stop. The worst part of this is when we actually go shopping afterwards at the Walmart. I tell her I need milk and butter. That turns into going down every aisle. Do you need hand soap? Do you need Kleenex? What about noodles? Are you eating enough? Do you need noodles? And then my grandma's there. So she's teaming up with my mom. Yeah, it looks like you're not eating. I think you need noodles. What about soup? Do you got soup? Are you eating well there? I don't think you are. You look malnourished. I said, no, Grandma. I put on the freshman 30. I'm good right now. So from Walmart, we go to Baskin Robbins. That was great. And then my family and my parents are trying to keep up with the lingo. They ask if there's any happening things on campus, and I just go, I'm so happy nobody else is seeing this. From there, they depart, And then we have the awkward goodbyes. And with my dad, we're not incredibly close, but we're closer than most, but we still have the awkward. Yeah, it's a hug, I love you. And he just says, yep, and then I walk back and go, oh. The best part of this whole entire event, though, this day, was we had an electric scooter, and I had to get it back from my dorm and living center south, which is all the way back there, all the way back to the library. So that means this guy got to cross something off his bucket list and drive one of those electric scooters. I'm driving it going about a mile per hour across campus. I have a bunch of people that are driving by on the street doing the looking at me because they clearly can tell that I don't have any broken legs and I'm not incredibly obese or incredibly old. And I actually dropped my phone and it flung on the sidewalk and I hopped right out. And then for some odd reason it clicked that I thought, oh my God, I have to act like I'm paralyzed. Because there was a person who saw me jump immediately off right in their car and they actually did one of these and were shocked. And I was like, oh my God, they think I'm a fraud. And what made me feel even more worse about that was when I actually went to get to the door of the Science East, I actually got the guilt door open of the person going, oh no, let me get it for you. And I'm just hanging my head and just like, and in my mind I'm just going like, oh, no, you don't have to. And that too, he even saw me get up from it when I returned it, and you could see the look of just like, that son of a bitch. He was faking it. And so I got a lot of guilt from it, like I'm forcing you into guilt laughs right now. And it's awesome. And especially since I've been here on campus, I've been realizing that I'm quickly turning into a senile old man, as I'm quickly hating everything that's going on in my life. Like, especially out in college, because all I have really time to do is think and sleep and eat. And one of the things that annoys me especially, the one thing I especially hate, is when you make Hot Pockets. I love Hot Pockets. I love the act of hot pocketing. But when you eat the Hot Pocket, and the first bite, and you might notice if you get the pizza one, the cheese, it just attacks you. It burns your tongue. You get halfway through, you're in the Arctic Circle. You don't know what's going on. You're just like, it was lava, now it's ice, I'm confused. Another thing that I really hate is a pretty popular TV show out right now called Pawn Stars. Anybody familiar with this? Alright. I used to like the show, but then it got incredibly ridiculous. Like the more stuff that they would bring in, he'd get incredibly nonchalant, like, oh, this is a picture of George Washington sent to me, and it's just like, oh yeah, I've seen this 1,000 times before. If you've ever been to an actual pawn shop like I have, it is nothing like the pawn shop on Pawn Stars. A real pawn shop involves a lot of plexiglass, you're getting your thumbprint checked 4 times, because apparently the 3rd time isn't the charm at pawn shops. A guy with a lot of gold around his neck, and I'm assuming too much cologne, and thank God the plexiglass is there. Slick back hair, and a lot of money being handled around you. It's like, this is shady. But on Pawn Stars, they have all these amazing things brought in, all these artifacts that have never been seen before that are worth thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. I do have to say, my favorite part of Pawn Stars is when they have like the before guy who's selling the thing, who's just like, oh yeah, it's a 65 Mustang that was in James Bond. I'm looking for like about 300,000. Then he goes in, finds out it's fake, and they're offering like a handshake, and he's just like, I don't know, it's a family heirloom. I think I'm just gonna hold on to it and sell it to a museum. Those are my favorite parts. And the most entertaining guy that I thought was there was Chumley, just because of his breathing patterns. And he sounds just like, he'll just be like, and I've worked on a Chumley impersonation to see if I got it right. Hey, Hoss, there's a guy, he says he's got a George Washington picture. I don't know who he is, you might want to look at it. And then Rick comes over and he handles it, and sometimes there's the old man who I think is a closet racist. I'm not sure. I think he is. And then you have the young guy who buys all the stuff that he thinks is real, finds out it's fake, his dad hates him. You would think you would have gotten fired because you're dealing with a lot of money there, but there aren't. And my favorite thing about Charlie is he doesn't know the most obvious things of famous people, but if there's like a pinball machine or an arcade game, he will give you all of the facts about it. Like, oh yeah, you got a 1970, oh my Charlie voice. Oh yeah, you got like a 1973 Kiss pinball machine. Looks like it's broken. If you just get in there and merge these two wires, you should be good to go. He knows that, but he doesn't know anything else. And my favorite part of Pawn Stars, though, and the thing that I find most ridiculous, is there's a guy, as Rick says, for everything. Whether it's guns, knives, artifacts, whatever. You could have a silver Victorian dildo, and he'll be like, I don't know about this to offer you, but I got a guy who's really good with Victorian era dildos, and I think he could give you a price. And there's always like Rick who's just like, I think it's good, it might look fake, there's this one smudge. When the guy comes in, of course that smudge is the key to it being real and worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. And Rick has the oh shit face when he tells him that, when he goes, yeah, it could go anywhere from, $10,000 to $50,000, and Rick goes, and then of course the guy says, well, he said 50,000, so let's go 50,000. And Rick says, I'll give you 10. And then of course they do some Russian roulette thingy because it's Vegas. Gotta love Pawn Stars. Another thing I hate, school-oriented, is when teachers, like when you have a question in class, and you ask the teacher, and they go on like a 15-minute tangent, explaining the wrong thing, and they ask you, is this what you meant? And you're kind of guilt-tripped into saying, yeah, it was, and you get completely screwed on a test. Another thing I hate is the gum line. What I mean by that is oh hey, do you have a piece of gum? And they say no as they're putting their gum as far deep in their pocket as possible, and you just think, you asshole. That's all I got.